Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a super close look at a highly concentrated source. Actually, our material for this analysis consists of exactly 2 words extracted from the Debt Consolidation Handbook. Literally, just 2 words. But, as we're going to see, when you put a microscope to everyday language, wow, an entire framework for problem solving reveals itself. We're going to totally deconstruct this exact phrase to uncover just how much meaning is packed into terms we usually just, gloss over.
Okay, let's dive right in by starting with the absolute most foundational question provoked by the text. What does it mean to consolidate? Before we can understand the handbook or even begin to apply any meaning to it, we really have to ask ourselves what this action entails. When you hear the word consolidate, your brain probably instantly jumps to finance, right? But the concept is actually way broader and deeper than that. It's an action, a verb, a literal mechanism of change.
Because our source is so incredibly focused, it's literally just the phrase debt consolidation, it absolutely forces us to look closely at the exact language to uncover what this handbook represents. We've got debt and consolidation. We really have to separate these terms to understand how they work together. On one side, we have debt, on the other, consolidation. These are 2 powerful concepts that, left on their own, mean totally different things. But when they collide, they create a very specific psychological and structural reality. Let's go ahead and isolate them.
It's absolutely fascinating to isolate this first word and really ground ourselves in the concept of obligation. Debt, an obligation or liability, typically financial, owed by one party to another. Debt isn't just a number on a page. It's fundamentally an obligation, a liability. It represents a literal tether between one party and another. It inherently implies a state of owing, a state where a piece of your future is already spoken for, allocated to someone else. It carries this heavy weight, a sense of being tied down to multiple external anchors.
But then, we introduce the second word, and the dynamic shifts entirely. Consolidation, the act or process of combining a number of individual things into a single, unified whole. It's the physical and mathematical act of unification. Notice the massive contrast here. If debt is all about multiple tethers and various obligations pulling you in a million different directions, consolidation is the exact opposite force. It is the act of bringing things together. Honestly, it's an act of sheer organization. Picture it. On one side, you have many scattered debts. That creates chaos, mental load, and the intense stress of keeping track of different entities, timelines, and liabilities. But on the other hand, a single consolidated debt. The act of unification transforms that fragmented reality into a streamlined, singular focus. Now, the act of unification hasn't necessarily erased the liability. You still owe it, but it has completely transformed the architecture of it. You move from a totally scattered reality into one manageable, unified entity. It's a real game changer.
So, what's the big takeaway? The crucial point is that understanding this phrase requires visualizing a core conceptual journey from complexity straight to simplicity. That's what those 2 words in our source material are truly communicating. It's not just boring financial terminology. It's a structural transformation. It's like you're taking a chaotic system of multiple liabilities and forcing them through a giant funnel until they pop out on the other side as one manageable entity. The handbook's title is essentially promising us a clear pathway out of structural chaos.
Even without pages of extensive data, the handbook's title alone outlines a really clear process, the consolidation process. 1. Acknowledge multiple obligations. 2. Combine into a single entity. We can deduce this just from the language. Step 1 is kind of implicit, right? You must first acknowledge that you actually have multiple scattered obligations. You can't combine what you haven't identified. Step 2 is where the magic happens, the action. You combine them into a single entity. It's a highly active process. It requires stepping up, taking control of those scattered liabilities, and forcing them into unification. This simple 2-step process is the core engine behind the entire concept.
So, having deconstructed the sheer essence of these 2 words, we leave you to ponder. Is consolidation your next chapter? We've seen how debt represents scattered liabilities and how consolidation acts as this incredibly powerful force of unification, totally transforming complexity into singular simplicity. Look at your own obligations, financial, or maybe even otherwise. Are they scattered? Are they pulling you in multiple directions? If so, you really have to ask yourself, is the active, deliberate process of consolidation exactly what you need to regain your focus and write your next chapter?